Gracefully Broken by Gwendolyn Hendrickson. I can't fix this. God, please help me. What was the first thing you thought when you finally decided you needed God's help? You've done everything you could, and yet still nothing is working in your favor. For me, it was a broken marriage, a lost career, and then finally homelessness for me to cry out to God for help. My process of growth started many years back. In 2014, I recall many nights of tears, crying out to God, asking, if I'm honest, begging Him to save me from a loveless marriage. For an entire year, like clockwork, I'd cry, I'd beg for some sign that God was actually listening to me, and then I'd go to sleep. Well, He was listening. He always is. The thing is, you can never really hear God if you're always talking. He is very patient and will never scream. So when I say, God, do you even hear me? Are you even listening? I'm certain His reply was, Gwen, do you even hear me? Are you even listening? Sad to say, for many years, I wasn't listening. I was too busy running and checking out of the process. What is the process? The best way I can describe the process is sitting still and working out the things that you've been running from. I've always thought that it was fixing others and not myself. I am perfect. It's not me, it's you. And then one day, after running from God for so many years, after He sat me down the hard way, since I wouldn't listen, a broken marriage, a lost career, and now I'm homeless, well, He got my full attention. In July 2019, I took a mission trip to Kenya. When I look back, during this time, I walked away from a very good career because I lost my passion, desiring something, yet had no clue what I was looking for. Through my church, I was selected to go with 20 other individuals to experience what so many people don't get to experience, life outside of ourselves. Beforehand, the longest flight I'd ever taken was about 6 hours. This was my first experience of worldly traveling, and it was amazing. After 3 flights, 19 hours of travel, not to mention the culture shock of foreign restrooms where they so comfortably use squatting toilets, we settled into our location in Kenya. In those 2 weeks, my life changed drastically. I wish that I could tell you that I did these amazing things and helped so many people, but it was the opposite. These beautiful people saved my life. I had to travel over 9,000 miles to witness individuals who live in the most devastated parts of the world live so freely because their soul was at rest. I was jealous. How can this be? I have every luxury that, if I'm honest, I took for granted. And while climbing a mountain, I heard God so clearly say to me, these people have absolutely nothing, yet they are completely devoted to me. What is your problem? When I arrived back home within 2 weeks, I had my apartment packed up and put my belongings in storage. My thought process, though, I could no longer live the way that I had been living, which was outside of my means, trying to keep up with the Joneses. I had no clue where I was going, and if I'm honest, I was scared out of my mind. No job, and now no home. I thought to myself, wow, God has jokes. Yet, when looking back, I now see He was pressing me, almost crushing me, to crush out everything that was not of Him to replace it with everything that was Him. I remember praying, I give up. Have it your way. We think that we have to have these elaborate prayers to God, and I'm here to tell you that you don't. I talk to God like I speak to any person I'm in a relationship with. He knows everything about me, and He wants to teach me everything about myself simply by learning about Him. After what seemed like forever, which was only 9 months, and many tears, my season of homelessness was over. During the time that I moved out of my apartment, I have had many spectacular testimonies where God showed me how I was never out of His grip. When I was moving, a good friend needed someone to house sit and care for her dogs, while she took care of a family emergency out of state. I remember how I told her my situation and she offered her place, and in return, I would care for her dogs. God brought us together to help us help each other during a very difficult time in both our lives. I stayed there for 5 months. When that door closed, another good friend saw a way to help and allowed me to stay with her as well. She opened up her home for me for about 4 months out of sheer love. God will put you with people that not only say they care about it, but live on a daily mission, completing random acts of kindness, looking for nothing in return. I know that there is no possible way that I could ever been able to survive this if it had not been for God's grace and mercy. In April 2021, I celebrated my 1-year anniversary in my house. Yes, a house! I have much more space and it's less expensive than my old apartment and in a nicer neighborhood. I'm enrolled in full-time college and my major is social justice and my focus will be in missions. I am also employed as an analyst with a local electrical company. So far, this was the hardest season of my life and I would not change a thing. I learned so much in the wilderness. There were so many things that God taught me. If I'd never gone through that season, I would have never learned what I learned. As I walk through this season with so many questions that run through my mind, I am confident in this. I can trust the next chapter of my story because I know the author. Gwendolyn Hendrickson was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, and currently lives in Southern California with her daughter Erin and their old tabby cat Max. Gwendolyn is completing her bachelor's degree in social science, putting her focus on missions to serve her local community as well as abroad to help those in need. Gwendolyn and myself formed a friendship while they were colleagues for years at the same company. And if you enjoyed this inspirational story and would like to take in some others, I recommend checking out this book, Beacons in the Darkness, Inspirational Stories from People I Know, available everywhere books are sold.